Are we giving it a little while to see if anybody pops on?
Yeah.
How do you know if anybody's watching or not? Do we have any watchers at the moment? Oh my goodness. What's the tripod? How do you know if anybody's watching or not? Do we have any watchers? Why are you giving me this finger? Okay, okay.
There's nobody watching right now.
We'll give it a few minutes. So in case somebody wants to pop on.
A few minutes.
If you're watching this later, wondering what the heck's going on right now, at the beginning here, we're just, we're in a live and we're kind of just giving it a few minutes to wait and see if anybody pops on before we go ahead and start what we're doing today. So, kind of just hanging out and see if we get any live watchers. So far, nobody, I don't think. It's our first live, so we don't really know how it's gonna go. What's the weather like where you're at today? Here in West Virginia, we've got, well, we had snow this morning, and it's been cold, like in the 30s, and we've got sunshine right now, so I'm kind of thankful for that since we live off of solar. It's really good to have the sunshine. So, anyway, comment below and let us know what state you're in and what your weather's like today. Can you share this live to Facebook while it's going on? Do we have anybody watching yet? Not telling me when we're going to get started. Oh, I have to get the salt. Be right back.
Don't forget the salt. Mm-hmm.
My Facebook personal page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's somebody watching. It's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, hello there, husband. This is going to be a very long, boring intro to a live video. Me just standing in the kitchen, waiting for people to watch.
Yeah, go for it. It's going to take you a while to do all this, so.
Okay, well, we're going to get started here. So if you're watching this later, welcome. We hope that you enjoy what you're seeing and that you'll subscribe and share this with your friends. We post videos on this channel about our off-grid journey and the way that we are taking our lifestyle back to the old days. So anyway, what we're going to do today is make kraut, and we are beginning to learn about fermenting and what all that involves. And one of the easiest things to start with is sauerkraut. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I am doing red cabbage. I hated sauerkraut actually for a really long time, and even tried it several times as an adult and still hated it. But when we were listening to Doug and Stacy, the off-gridders that we are learning from, hey Doug and Stacy, she talks a lot about using the vegetables with the red, so red cabbage, red potatoes, red onions, because of the health benefits that they have versus their white counterparts. So we're going to be using red cabbage today to make kraut, and I've already got this one cut in half because it was looking kind of sad on the outside, so I had to make sure the inside was still good. So we're just going to walk you through the entire process. Hubby's in the background wandering around. He might say something now and then. So, first thing you want to do is to peel off any of the sad, kind of wilty looking layers, but don't throw those away yet because we're actually going to be using a couple pieces of that here soon. So you want to take off anything that looks kind of dull. Let me show you, like here versus the bright, vibrant color here. So once you get down to the bright, vibrant color, you're good. I'll need to probably, we're good there. Okay. So you can cut this however you want. You can cut it in chunks. You can cut it in shreds. We prefer the shreds. It's just a lot more traditional. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to be fairly boring, so I'm sorry about that. Now, if you want the longer ones, you can just go like, this with the whole half cut in half. But I'm going to cut this like this because I want shorter shreds. So then we're just going to thinly slice this, and it doesn't matter, like I said, how you cut it. Cut it however you want. It's all going to taste the same anyway, no matter what shape it's in. I'm trying to be careful because this knife is new and it's extremely sharp. Definitely don't want to cut myself. And Andy will be on standby with my phone watching anybody that's watching now during the live. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, because he's on standby watching to answer any questions you may have as we go along. He can read them out loud to me. So here's what my shreds look like. Put them in your bowl. We're going to do 2 heads of cabbage today. So I did that kind of slow with that first one just so you can see how I cut them. But we're just going to try to move right along here. Andy, feel free to say anything that you want going through this so that there's not too many awkward silences.
Hey, I'm enjoying this. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Look at that fine craftsmanship. We are not sponsored by Rada, but she is using a Rada knife.
Yep. I've got some paring knives by Rada that I've had, well, one that I've had for many, many years. Those 2, both of them are old, aren't they? Yeah. And they've been great. I've only had to sharpen them a couple times, so when we were up in Amish country last time, we got this one. Our other chopping knife was kind of getting sad, and so we got this one from Layman's, and it's awesome. So it'll last us years. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just enjoying the show.
If you're watching anytime during this video while we're still live, please say something. Let us know that you're here. I'd like to say hello to you. ever say anything about themselves.
Well, nobody spoke up yet.
We'll throw a couple clicks on there.
Ann S. Swallow 17 said howdy.
Hello. Glad to have you. I'm so glad you joined us. I hope that cutting kraut is not too boring to watch. I promise we'll get to the exciting stuff as soon as the boring stuff is over.
Hey, this is all exciting for me. I don't have to do a video and you get to do all the work.
I'm just thrilled that somebody's watching. This is our first live video, like I said, and I didn't know what to expect because, you know, our channel's still fairly small, but we do have some loyal supporters and we're really excited about that. I'm hoping that you guys will watch us grow and we'll all go down this road together. So this is a good time to point out when you're chopping your cabbage, if you get these thick white parts, you'll probably want to cut those out. I mean, they'll ferment, but they'll still be really crunchy and they won't have the same consistency as the rest of the cabbage. So, like, for instance here, you probably not want to use that. So we'll just break the good stuff off and throw these to the side. We can compost those later. Getting kind of a lot of that right here, so I'm just going to cut out that entire section. Let me know in the comments if you have ever tried red kraut. To me, it tastes a lot different. I actually love it, so I don't think I'll ever eat white kraut again. I like to have it in the mornings. I'll fix a piece of toast and a hard-boiled egg, or I'll have a hard-boiled egg and slice it up, or even sometimes a fried egg. And I love to put the kraut on my toast with my egg and some avocado. It's so good. You love avocado, don't you, honey?
No.
He hates it. It makes him want to gag. And sometimes he does gag.
But you did make a avocado chocolate pudding thing, and it was great. And I couldn't taste the avocado, but it was really great. You're going to have to make that one time and show
we'll do a video about
how
that.
it was done.
I've actually, I had him taste it, knowing he hates avocados. I had him taste it before I told him what was in the pudding, and then after he was like, oh yeah, this is really good, I'm like, guess what's in there? So that was pretty funny.
It definitely wasn't no real pudding, but it was pretty good.
Sometimes I get confused, all the patterns in the cabbage, like what's the right direction to slice it to get the shreds that I want. So it doesn't always, you know, go how I want it, but like I said, it doesn't matter what shape it's in, it all tastes the same in the end. And if you're just joining or joining anytime during the live, please comment below and let us know you're here so we can say hello to you. Okay, so this bowl is kind of full. I've only got one cabbage in here right now, but I want to leave myself some room to like massage the cabbage, which you'll see in a second, without making a mess. Because if I fill it up too full, I'm going to make a huge mess. So we don't want to do that. Alright. like to get the other one in there, but what do you think? It's kind of full already.
It looks pretty full.
Alright, so we're going to come over here to the other counter. We're going to put the camera right there. Okay. So the next step is add your salt, and that is what creates the fermenting and what starts the process with the vegetables. It helps to break the vegetables down, and the salt keeps it from going bad. I'm not good at describing these things. I don't know all the science behind it. But, so the recipe that I follow, we've got this kit here, this fermenting kit. It came with this tamper, it came with the fermenting lids, and these little weights, which I'll explain all this stuff as we go along. But it also came with a recipe book. So the recipe I follow just is for 1 whole cabbage and a tablespoon of salt. So what you do, I believe it's a tablespoon. Yes, it's a tablespoon.
In that package, we got it at Layman's in Kidron, Ohio. So if you're ever up that way, or if you get on their website, I think it's laymans.com or something like that, they did have them available. They may be out now, but that's where we got that while we were up there.
And so you want to use sea salt, preferably, and you want to make sure it's very pure salt. Redmond is a good brand of salt that has been recommended to us. It's very pure. It's not got any chemicals in it. It's not been processed. We use pink Himalayan sea salt. So you take your tablespoon, you just sprinkle it in here, and then you'll massage the cabbage. Get your hands in there. We're going to get dirty now. So you're going to work the cabbage and squish it and massage it, and that salt is going to break the cabbage down and start to help the cabbage release its juices to create its own brine. When you ferment a lot of other things, you have to make a brine, but the cabbage will create its own brine. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. So you're just going to stick your hands in there and squeeze. Keep turning and squeezing, mixing that salt in there. This takes a little while. This is a good thing to do with your kids too. Maybe not the chopping part, but depending on how old your kids are. But this part, kids would, probably think was pretty entertaining, especially if they like to get their hands dirty. And you can see the pile's already getting smaller. The cabbage is getting floppier, getting softer. That salt is breaking it down, releasing the juices.
Hands were washed prior to this situation.
Yeah, well, and this one's just for us. So even if we hadn't washed our hands yet,
Oh, no,
okay.
you wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Anyway, you'll know you're done when the consistency feels kind of like cooked onions. Is that a good way to describe it?
Cooked onions?
Yeah.
What about noodles?
That too.
Not quite al dente noodles.
And if you find that it's not producing enough juice, you can create some of your own brine afterwards.
Or add a little bit more salt.
Yeah. Some cabbages are a lot juicier than others. The last time I made kraut, that cabbage was so juicy that I had to actually dump out some of the brine. I wasn't even able to use it all that it made. I'm too short for this countertop to be doing this. If you're just joining, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, Andy and I live in a tiny house, 320 square feet, and we are trying to go off-grid. That's why our channel has the word journey in it, because we're not quite there yet, but we are pretty much there. And we are, this year, going to be focusing a lot on food preservation. So we're starting the process of fermenting. We've already done this kraut a couple times. We wanted to have it down pat before we actually did a video on it to make sure it was good. So.
Yep, she does a good job. And we are off-grid, everything except for water. Unfortunately, we are not able to keep or store our water here, but even rainwater, we don't quite have enough roof space to be able to get what we need. So everything except for water, and for where we're at right now in this stage of life, I think that's about as far as we're going to get from this property.
In the summertime, though, we do collect rainwater in barrels. We collect rainwater at our compost station where we do our composting toilet buckets so that we can clean them out using rainwater there. And then we collect rainwater off the house as well. We use that to water my donkey. We use it to wash our laundry. We even bring it inside and run it through the Berkey filter and drink it. It's so good. It's so much better than tap water even run through the filter. Okay, this is at a good consistency now, so if you want to bring the camera a little bit closer so they can see what we're talking about here. Oops, I dropped some on the floor. And it does stick to your hands a lot. So if this bothers you, it feels weird, feels like worms, then you want to wear gloves. But see how soft. And it's even started to become, some of the thinner pieces have become opaque because it's just wet and soft now. So this is about the consistency that you want when you put it in your jars. Alright, if my lovely assistant would come over here and put the funnel on the jar for me, that'd be great. One cabbage will usually do about 1 jar. So, I've got 2 cabbages here. I have not used the funnel yet, so we got this jar funnel because I was making a huge mess trying to get it into the jar because it was all sticking to my hands and everything. So right now we're just going to go ahead and start putting it in. And when it gets where you think it's full, it's not. Lovely assistant, would you like to do the tamping so I don't have to wash my hands a million times?
Yeah.
So you take this camping stick that comes with the kit, and he's about to show you. It's made of acacia wood. You do have to oil it every once in a while just to keep it from drying out and cracking. But you use this and you're going to push down into the jar as hard as you can and shove that down in there. You want this to be in there pretty tight because the goal is to keep all air out and to keep all the vegetable under the juice. See how it's making its own juice? You can see it pushing up through there. And by the time we get all this cabbage in there, that whole jar should be full of juice. This cabbage, like I said, isn't quite as juicy as some of the others we've worked with, so we may need to add a little bit more brine, but maybe not, because there's a lot in the bottom of the bowl too. Alright, tamper. So again, he's gonna, now that I've added some, he's gonna shove that down in there, bringing the juices to the top as best he can. I wouldn't hold it, but hands are nasty. Okay.
Alright, move your hand, they can see the juice.
So, see the juice there? That is what the salt has done. It has helped to break down the vegetable and bring out the liquids. So we'll just keep adding. I don't have much left. And if you look in the bowl here, can you see that really well in there or not? Maybe if I do this. I don't know.
Quit, we'll chase it.
See the juice in the bottom of the bowl? That's the natural brine that it has made for itself. So we're just going to try and scrape all this in here. What's left. Alright. So.
You're about to put some more in there.
Some more what? Brine or cabbage? Cabbage.
Yeah, you're going to put some more cabbage in there.
Alright, so this cabbage, it was kind of a smaller cabbage. It did not fill up the jar all the way. We need the cabbage itself to be about up to the shoulder of the jar, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, just a hair up to the shoulder, and then you'll go to your next step from there. But you know, needs a little bit more cabbage.
Okay, so we're gonna come back over here and cut some more cabbage off this over. We might not get 2 jars of cabbage this time because of the size of these little guys. Alright, so let's address this little fella. We bought these like a week ago and I should have got it right now, but we just haven't had the chance. Nothing there. So again, you're going to peel off the leaves that don't look so good until you get down to nothing but bright, beautiful purple cabbage. It's kind of darker in there in this corner. So I'm trying to see what I'm doing. And this cabbage, like I said, we've had it for several days. I should have got to it, but okay. Life happens, right?
While you're doing that, I'm gonna get ready for some coffee time.
Okay. I'm just gonna cut the end of this off where that was a little bad because I don't want to peel too much of the leaves. So we're gonna cut this sucker in half. If I don't have enough to fill up the second jar, then I'll probably just cut up the rest of the cabbage and use it on salads this week. So here we're going to cut out the heart again so that we don't have to worry about that thick stuff in our kraut. So it does make it a little difficult. So, alright, we're going to cut our half in half. You can go ahead and start shredding like this if you want. I cut it in half last time, but I think I'll just go ahead and do this to make things quicker. Longer shreds this time. Or in this bit.
Need some Berkey water.
You stand right in front of me.
Well, I'm sorry. Need Berkey water.
This is our Berkey water filter. We're going to be doing a video on that here soon too. Hopefully. Lord willing. That section looks questionable, so.
We've been kind of behind on videos, sorry. You've been doing a lot. You've been running around, trying to get caught up on things.
And work's been really busy. I sell real estate, so I've been really busy and very blessed with business here lately, so that's been keeping us busy. He goes with me on the weekends if I have showings or listings or things like that. So it's been keeping us going. Alright, so that's probably enough to fill up the rest of this jar. So we'll take that over here. And I'm not going to add another whole tablespoon of salt. We'll just do a little just so we have enough to break it down.
Break it down. You gonna do a little jig?
What?
You gonna do a little jig?
That was musicless. Next time you want me to do a jig, you're going to play a song or something.
I can't play a song. You're using my phone.
What if you sing?
Oh no. No, we don't want.
I'll do another jig.
We don't want to run everybody off.
How about some doo-doos?
I don't remember the song.
What?
I don't remember the song that well.
What song?
That one.
What one? What are you eating?
Pistachios. What?
Okay.
Hey, I'm digging this not having to make a movie thing, video thing.
Hey,
Not a movie.
hey, you don't have to edit this one either.
You're right. I'm digging this.
Because once it's done, it's done. How many people we got watching this right now?
One.
Any? One? You?
One.
One in addition to you, or just you?
I believe one in addition.
Oh, well, if you're still watching, thank you so much for sticking around. I know that this is a Sunday, and this is a Sunday.
This is Sunday.
This is a Sunday. And most people are probably really busy with family or church or whatever they're doing. We don't have evening church today. So,
nope.
We're doing this. But if you're still watching, I appreciate you. I really do. It makes me happy that somebody is currently still watching me squeeze cabbage. We hope to do more live videos like this, and we hope to get more watchers in the future for them, but maybe next time we should announce it somehow. That we're going to be doing one. Like, do a short announcing that on such and such day we're going to do a live video.
Yeah.
We don't really know what we're doing. It's just a learn as you go kind of thing. Alright. Funnel man.
Funnel.
Now this part, this cabbage, it was that second one. It was much juicier already than that first one was.
Much juicier.
I should probably squeeze it a few more times. Okay. Now we're floppy.
What is the purpose of the funnel?
So that I don't spill it all over the
countertop. That's good.
Is that not the purpose? That's why I got it.
That's one of the purposes.
Because I was making a mess before.
That's one of the purposes.
Well, you gonna tamp that down for me?
Yeah. When you guys are canning or when you're doing any kind of fermenting or anything like that, you want to keep the top of your jar. You're supposed to sanitize these. You want to keep the top of your jar right here clean. You don't want a bunch of stuff getting all built up on it.
By sanitize, do you mean wash with soap?
No, you're supposed to boil them.
Well, we
When
have
you're
not.
canning.
Okay, I was saying we have yet to do
When
that.
you're canning, you're supposed to
For
boil them to
fermenting.
sanitize them and the lids before you fill them.
You can taste this too as you go along.
Well, we wash these jars every time, so and they get filled right back up, and we've never had any issues, so there's no sense of.
If you're unsure,
What are you doing?
well, I was going to tell them. If you're unsure if you've put enough salt in, even if it is breaking down properly, if you're still unsure, taste it. You should be able to taste the salt. That's
All
pretty
right,
good.
get your topper and your pebble. And
Let me rinse my hands off first. Scoot back just a second.
you're done with these. I'm gonna put these in the sink.
I'm not, because I'm going to do the rest of that cabbage.
Oh, I thought you were gonna save it for a salad.
No, I've still got some in here that needs to go in a jar. So, okay. Got myself rinsed off. You should see when we do beets.
Looks like somebody
my
died.
fingers are purple right now, but when I do beets, it looks like I murdered somebody. Okay.
She died.
So, we are not going to put the regular mason jar lid on here. That would be bad. So, what we're going to do, if I can get it out of the box. And remember how I told you at the beginning, do not throw away your cabbage leaves. I'll show you why. Now, if it's really disgusting, you don't want to use it, but find one that's not moldy or whatever. Like, I let this cabbage go too long. That'll work. Alright. So, you're going to take some cabbage leaves that are decent, but they weren't good enough to make the cut, you know. And you don't want any of this vegetable to come up above the liquid, because if it gets any oxygen into it, it's going to go bad. So you'll stuff your cabbage leaves down in here. Now that one's kind of rough, or stiff right there. And it doesn't have to be one whole piece. You can just, as long as it's all the way around the edges, to cover these loose things. So that it keeps any of them from floating up to the top later on. Alright. Boy, I have a mess over there. So then your next step, this is a weight. I mean, it's just glass and it's got a little handle type thing so you can pull it up out of the jar really easily when you're done with the fermenting process. But this also helps to keep everything below. But your cabbage leaf keeps, because this is not quite as big around as the jar, so your cabbage leaf keeps any debris or any bits from coming up around the edges, and this keeps it all the way down.
It is your pickling weight.
So as you can see, that has pressed the liquid up above the vegetables, which is exactly what you want. Then you got to make sure you wipe off the edge of your jar so that everything gets a good seal, which if you've done actual canning before, you'll probably know about that. So just make sure it's nice and dry. And this is a pickling pipe. It's made of silicone, and it has a little, is this a good close-up? I can't tell what I'm showing.
Yep.
So it has a little hole in the end of it, and whenever the pressure from the fermenting builds up inside the jar, the air comes out of that hole to release pressure as it's fermenting over the next few weeks, but it will not let any oxygen into the jar.
Also, on that note, if you, some of the old timers that did the fermenting obviously didn't have this fancy new stuff. There's several different ways to do it. The old timers would put the lid on and put the ring on just like you would if you was sealing a jar up with something in it. And they would let it set and start the fermentation process. And every day they would go out and loosen the lid and go psst, and here for the pressure release, and they'd close it right back up real quick. And that's how they would do it, the fermenting in the old days. That's how I was taught to do it. And you have these, and they also have other lids similar to this that have a it looks like an S pipe sticking up out of it, and you put some water in each side of the little bubbles, and that lets the gases escape, but the oxygen not to get back in. But we've been using these right here for
Since November.
Yeah, for a good while, and we were new to these, and the pickling pebbles with the little grips on the end of it to where they're easy to get in and out. Those are perfect. Those are top notch. Better than any spring, better than anything else. Those are perfect. And if you don't know about springs, leave us a comment, let us know. We'll teach you a little bit about the springs too. Those were dangerous.
Okay. So once you set that on there, you just use your regular lid and screw it on just like you would if you're putting the normal lid on the jar. Nice and tight, and you're ready to go. So this can be ready to eat as soon as 1 week. We like to leave ours for at least 3, but it's really based on the taste and how fermented you like everything. So once this has sat for your desired number of weeks, it will be ready to eat. You can take this off, put your regular mason top lid back on, and store it in the refrigerator, and it'll be good for months, right?
Or your root cellar.
Yes, or your root cellar. But if you're eating off of it, obviously you probably want to keep it in your fridge.
Or the crawl space under the house.
But make sure, after the fermentation process is done, you can store it for months, but make sure it's in a cool, dark place. So, like, say if, this is our only jar of kraut right now. Say if it wasn't. Say if we were just kind of storing up what we grew in our garden or something like that. We would probably be fermenting several jars at once, but we obviously can't eat off several jars at once. So we would be storing them under the house in our crawl space, which is completely cemented in. The floor is cement. It's like a root cellar down there. So they'll be good for months down there, and if they're stored in a cool place, they will no longer continue to ferment and build up pressure, so you won't have to go down and release them or anything. But yeah, so cool, dark place. Anything we're missing?
Anything we're missing? I don't think so. Guys, if we're missing something, leave a comment. Ask us a question.
If you see this raised up like this because it has built up pressure, do not squeeze this. I mean, I did just now because it hasn't started fermenting yet, but do not squeeze that because that will give the opportunity for oxygen to go into the jar, and oxygen equals rotting, so we don't want that. So if you see this building up pressure, it's silicone. It's supposed to expand like that. It will eventually release that hole on its own. Just leave it alone. One thing you do want to check periodically though is sometimes it can bubble over and the liquid can bubble out the hole and you might have a mess. We had that happen last time. That does not mean that your ferment is bad or that there's something wrong with it. It's just pressure. Once this one is done, we'll come back on here and show you what it looks like when it's finished fermenting. But for right now, it's done. So if you're watching this later, after the live's already been over, then you have questions, please put them in the comment section. We check our notifications regularly. Both of us are logged into this channel, so we do have a good handle on checking things. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you.
Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's me. They just never know.
Yeah.
Unless they ask.
But this one's ready to go. We have a beautiful, easy pudding.
Beautiful.
I won't bore you with the second jar. It's the same exact process. But I am going to do a second jar. So.
Alright. Well.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't know. You want to sit down, do a coffee time, see if anybody shows up anymore? Then we have had a wonderful subscriber watching. Ann Swallow 17. She's been watching this whole time.
And thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us. It really means a lot.
I hope your husband likes his kraut. If you don't have any of these things, or if you need some of these things, and you've got questions on where to get it, how to get it, let us know. We'll help you out.
Well, she doesn't have a husband.
In one of her comments, she said her husband grew up with this, and she wants to.
We just don't make assumptions.
Well, no, I didn't make an assumption. I was reading the comment. You were over here doing your wonderful little thing, and I was reading.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, we'll save the coffee time for next time. So,
Yep.
You're done with this?
Yep. We're done with the kraut for now. I'm going to do another one, but this is it. This is how you do it. So, we hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.